Video game violence has become a hot topic in recent years. Video games have matured, switching from the days of colorful Pac-Man clones to the gritty, seedy underworlds of Grand Theft Auto. Through this transformation, they have found critics and supporters. Though this may all seem recent, it's a debate that has been boiling for years.
I go to the gym 3 times a week.
The violence in video game controversy started from a company called Exidy. They had released their game Death Race into arcades, which was the first violent video game and the first game banned from the market. The point of Death Race was to run over gremlins in order to obtain points to win the game. Later, when video games became more advanced, video games became increasingly more violent. The Ninja Turtles video game was one of the most violent games for the Super Nintendo back in 1991. In Ninja Turtles, you go through levels killing ninjas to kill the evil Shredder. For the PlayStation, there was one of the more graphically violent video games, showing blood and gore that was known as Resident Evil. Video games today have become extremely more violent and have been a part of many people's lives for fun, stress relievers, and for a social activity with friends. But lawyers and the media say that video games are influencing violent acts and video games are used as a vehicle to commit crimes such as school shootings. Most of the people who play video games say the games they play won't cause them to do violent acts. Do video games really cause real-world violence? We have all heard from the news, politicians, and attorneys that video games have been the influence or reason for all the school shootings and crimes. It seems video games have been blamed for just about everything that goes wrong in society. And now for virtual violence, where we will see several viewpoints of this topic and see what people think.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I was busy playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Let's hear from some students and teachers about how video games might influence school shootings, drug use, and other forms of violence. Now students, what are your favorite games?
Right now it's Assassin's Creed,
Call of Duty 4,
Medal of Honor,
RuneScape,
Guild Wars,
Team Fortress 2,
Oblivion,
Halo,
Assassin's Creed,
Half-Life,
Mountain Blade,
Halo, Duck Hunt,
Grand Theft Auto, Super Mario Brothers,
and the classic Halo.
Oh wow, that's interesting. So do you think video games are an influence to school shootings, drug use, and other forms of violence?
I think school shootings are more like emotional, not like video game related.
It's a weird concept. It's like, it's your maturity level is like, are you okay with the subject?
They could potentially have if you did play video games enough, they could have an influence on your life.
I don't think the video games by themselves do that. I think it takes the person playing the games to be able to act those things out or make those decisions.
If they took that from a video game, like just a video game, they're mentally unstable and something was sure to have happened other than being caused by a video game.
When you've got people doing like first-person shooter games or games that are really, really built around violence, it's hard to not see a connection, especially between things like school shootings.
I think it does desensitize us a little bit, but I don't think in of itself, I don't think playing Halo teaches you how to shoot a gun. I mean, I can't shoot a gun.
Well, David, it sounds like you should stick with a water gun. Now, let's hear from Logan from RaiseTheWorld.com, where anyone can exercise their First Amendment rights and talk about what's going on in the world. And we'll be hearing from Joe Height, a video game expert who's been working in the industry for 14 years.
My personal opinion is that video games really have nothing to do with violence that goes on in schools. If some dude shows up at school with 10 guns and starts shooting people, a lot of times the press, lawyers, officials, sheriff's department, whatever, they're going to say, well, clearly a dude was playing a video game called Grand Theft Auto, probably. And, he just came to school and shot everybody because he was having so much fun playing the video game. He's like, no, I'm just going to go shoot regular people because I'm tired of shooting pixels.
So I was testing for a video game called ESPN where the idea is you're racing and you would knock off the person next to you. Well, after eight hours straight of testing this thing, I got in the car, and what do you think I did? But I raced, and the inclination was to move over into the next lane to get the other person in another car. That was the first instance where I could say, okay, geez, I hadn't realized that was affecting me subconsciously. So I do think that video games do have that, and if you play a lot of video games that have ammo or drugs, and they not encourage it, but they expose it to it, that over time, if they desensitize you to it, that a person could be desensitized to the threat of it.
After you're a little older, you've lived a little longer, you know, and your mind has developed a little more. You've developed the capacity for abstract thought, which is extremely important, and not a lot of people even know how to develop that these days, which is another problem I don't even want to talk about. But after you're a little older, I think your mind is a little better at distinguishing what's real and what's fake, and what's reality and what's true society.
What you put in your brain, it makes an impact. It makes a visual impression and an impression that is subconscious. And if you watch it over, violence over a long period of time, you may not understand it, or you may not know what kind of impact it is having on you, but it is having an impact on you.
Thanks, Joe and Logan. Now we will see an NBC story with Jack Thompson, a self-appointed expert on video game violence. Joe Height and Logan will be sharing what they think of Jack Thompson's opinions.
First of all, the heads of 6 major healthcare organizations, including the American Medical Association, have all testified under oath before Congress that there is a direct causal link between these games and teen violence. Secondly, law enforcement has found repeatedly, as in Grand Rapids, Michigan, that some young people played Grand Theft Auto 3, hopped in their truck, ran over a man they didn't even know, went home and started playing the game. They decided that the game was simply, the murder was an extension of the game.
Jack Thompson, who lives in Coral Gables, Florida, is an ignorant person with a worldview about that big. And let me tell you why. Actually, let's talk to Henry David Thoreau for a minute. Henry David Thoreau said that there's 1,000 people hacking on the branches of evil to the one person hacking at the root. And Jack Thompson is just some idiot who's hacking at the branches of evil, and nobody is stopping the root from growing.
I don't agree with a lot of what Jack Thompson says, but I do agree that he's got a point that some of the video games out there, especially Bully, Grand Theft Auto 4, they desensitize us to the point where, or make it seem that that's okay to do that.
Well, I hope you enjoyed what you've seen. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to get back to Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Give a little love, and it all comes back to you. You're gonna be remembered for the things that you say you do. You give a little love, and it all comes back to you. You're gonna be remembered for the things that you say